all change at the top of the Bundesliga, but one thing that hasn't changed, it's Bayern München. They seem to be breaking away from the chasing pack. Will they hold on? We'll take a little look next. Right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. This time we're taking a look at matchday number 26 out in the Bundesliga, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Bundesliga related, Blackburn Rovers related, world football related. We're all here under one roof. That's right, boys and girls. So before we jump into the old predictions, let's have a big shout out, of course, to the Patreons. That's right, Russell Frost, Noco Drinker, Tom Beresford, Tom Clark, The Ledge, John Spurn, Aztec Marky B. Mark, Constable 1976, Mitchell Schoen, and of course, Cody Cahoe. You could join that exclusive VIP gang and become number 10 Patreon by checking out the old link down below. There is a link for the old Patreon. I mean, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I'm looking for number 10. So come on, be that magic number. There is a link down below. It is patreon.com/overseas. There is perks and privileges to becoming Patreon. We are trying to kick this channel to another level, and I could do, and to make that easier, quicker, faster, that does boost me. I know you don't know why, but it does boost me because it spurs me on, gets the creative juices flowing, and it just drives me further with the motivation to create better content, more content. And then we can kick this beast onto another level. Anyway, right here, right now, we are talking about La Bundesliga, or Die Bundesliga, Das Bundesliga, Der Bundesliga, whatever you want to call it. Here we go, folks. Obviously, not a good weekend for my boys. Mönchengladbach, they lost to Dortmund. But Bayern are running away with it at the moment. This is the criteria once again. 0 to 3, you're in the shit-faced gang. 4 to 5, you're in the straight-faced club. 6 plus, you're in the top banana. Hopefully, I've got my graphics all lined up. Köln, well, they are up and at them right now. They seem to be moving in the right way. Into the top 10 for them right now. 2-1 winners over Paderborn, who seem to be doomed. They are doomed as it stands. I went with a 2-1 win for Paderborn, but I went the other way. Wolfsburg against Leipzig ended up all square. 0-0. I went with a 2-2 on this one. Not too shabby indeed on that bad boy. Happy with that. Leverkusen did beat Eintracht Frankfurt 4-0 quite comfortably. I went with a 2-0 win myself on that one. Hertha Berlin and Werder Bremen duked out to a 2-2 draw. Werder Bremen clinging on for dear life at the moment at the bottom of the table, or towards the bottom of the table. So we got that one wrong. Berlin, no big win for them as they move a little bit clear of that relegation pack. Schalke, Hoffenheim end up all square. I saw 2 goals in it myself, but I gave them all to Schalke. So, yeah, got that one wrong. Union Berlin did lose to Freiburg. Were trying to keep themselves in the Europa League spots. I went with Union Berlin on this one, so I got that one wrong as well. My boys, Mönchengladbach, did lose to Dortmund 2-1 in the end. I went with a 2-2 draw, just 1 goal. That was my heart going with that prediction on my head. Realistically, Dortmund are a better unit at the moment. And Augsburg did lose to Bayern, the leaders, the champions, 2-0. I went with a 3-0 in the end. And Mainz and Düsseldorf ended up all square 1-1. Called it, folks. Absolutely called it. And I did okay for myself this week. Not too bad. Straight-faced club for me. So, what about you guys? Who's with me? Who's with me? Well, we're going to start with okay. He did okay. Cody Cahoe, La Patreon did absolutely garbage this weekend, unfortunately, buddy. Calvin Wright did garbage as well. Omaji Monday did all right for himself. Bree, he did okay. We Are QPR did absolutely garbage as well. Manis Christensen, not too shabby. Christian04, not too shabby. And Bianca Muller, she did top banana. Give her a round of applause. Yes. She did very, very well with her pickaroos. Next up, Jack. He did all right for himself. Nathan Heaver, top banana, a.k.a. the Purple Hazer. He did pretty good as well. Bossio Mata. He also did top banana. Well done to you, Sunshine. Yannick Bustler did okay for himself. Oh, Omamiro, get a round of applause for you as well. Well done, Model. You guys are actually showing us up here. Johnny talks Bundesliga. He does talk the Bundesliga with a top banana right there. And Mitchell Schoen. Mitchell Schoen, sorry. La Patreon. He did all right for himself as well, so not too bad indeed. This is what the table currently looks like out in Germany. It's Bayern's to lose. 4 points to of Dortmund now, who are in second plot. Leipzig are third. Leverkusen are fourth. My boys, Mönchengladbach, are in fifth at the moment. They have a game in hand, and we're going to talk about that one first. Down the foot of the table, it's Paderborn and then Werder Bremen as well. And Düsseldorf in that playoff spot at the moment. So let's take a look. Let's talk about it first. We're talking about the game in hand. We're going to get to Fortuna, Düsseldorf and Paderborn in just a second. But the game in hand this week takes place on Wednesday, 11th of March. It is a bit of a derby. Mönchengladbach up against Köln. Heading into this, the last 6 encounters sees 4 wins for Gladbach, 2 wins for Köln. They played in Köln earlier in the season. It was a 1-0 win for Mönchengladbach. Alassane Pili on the score sheet for Mönchengladbach, and the last time I played in Mönchengladbach was also a 1-0 win for Mönchengladbach, and that was back in 2007. Nico Elvedi, on the score sheet that day. Heading into this, Köln have actually won 8 of the last 10 matches in the Bundesliga. They are probably the form team at the moment. So it's going to be a tall order for Mönchengladbach. The bookmakers go, what do they go? The stupid American odds. I don't like it. I don't like it. Give me the old English odds, the fractional odds. 11-8 on for Mönchengladbach. 60-5 is the draw. 3-1 is the away win. Heading into this, Mönchengladbach's form is a little bit wobbly. It's not too bad. Just one defeat at the past 6. But a lot of draws in that mix. Meanwhile, Köln, 3 wins on the spin for them, 4 wins at the past 5 as well. So they fancy the chances. A win for Köln in a 10th spot. Could see them rise into the top 9, boys and girls. That's over half above Hoffenheim, depending on what goes on. In fact, it doesn't matter what goes on with Hoffenheim. I think they've got a better goal difference as well. So a win for Köln would see them rise to 9th. Whereas Mönchengladbach are 5th, a win away from going back into the top 4, above by Leverkusen, who are also one of the form teams at the moment. So I'm going to side with on this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win from the boys, Mönchengladbach, to rise above it. Again, no graphic. I'll put it in the old description with the fixtures, and then we'll see it next time out. So into the rest of the next batch of matches, which will start on Friday. It is Mainz up against it's not Mainz against Rasensport Leipzig. It is hang on a minute. That's the following week. What am I talking about? It is Düsseldorf up against Paderborn. There we go. So let's take a closer look at this one. The last 6 encounters sees 1 win for Düsseldorf, 4 wins for Paderborn, and 1 draw along the way. So Paderborn are the form team out of these two sides, or the form at this last fixture. In fact, it's 3 wins or 3 games unbeaten for Paderborn against Fortuna Düsseldorf. They played in Paderborn early in the season. It was a 2-0 win with Abdelhamid Sabri on the score sheet. Sebastian Schönlau on the score sheet for Paderborn as well. God, I butchered that name. The last time I played in Düsseldorf was a 2-1 win as well for Paderborn as well. That's back in 2015 in the Zweite Bundesliga. Heading into this, Paderborn actually horrific form. 5 defeats at the past 6 games, whereas Düsseldorf have picked up 1 win at the past 6, drawing 3 as well. So they're doing okay. Paderborn actually can see at least 2 goals in the last 4 matches in the Bundesliga as well. The bookmakers will go with Düsseldorf on this one, 90-20 on in favour of Düsseldorf. 30-5 is the draw. 30-5 is also the away win. A win for Düsseldorf in 16th. Could see them close the gap to Mainz to just 1 point. A win for Paderborn. Could see them leap above Werder Bremen, be it for 24 hours or so, or even 48 hours, or even 72 hours, if they're victorious over Düsseldorf, because Werder Bremen don't play till on Monday. So it's tough old boots this one, but right now Paderborn looks lost. 4 defeats on the spin at the moment. This will be 5. And they'll be on their way. They'll be on their way to Zweite, but they could start planning their holidays now because their season seems to be slipping right through their fingers. They need to win this one really, because Fortuna's on that playoff spot. This is a big time 6-pointer here. But I'm going to go with Düsseldorf with the home form. Next up, one of the controversial teams, or the teams that are in the spotlight at the moment. Hoffenheim, they take it on Hertha Berlin this Saturday. Hoffenheim heading into this not great form without a win in 5. Heading into this up against Hertha Berlin, who I think they might have turned a little bit of a corner. The last 6 encounters, though, sees 3 wins for Hoffenheim, 3 draws as well. No wins for Hertha Berlin in the last 6 games. They played in Berlin early in the season. It was a 3-2 win for Hoffenheim. Jürgen Locadia on the score sheet, Kadamec as well, and Benjamin Hubner for Hoffenheim, whereas the goals for Berlin were Dodi Lebecanio and Solomon Karlu on the score sheet, with Vladimir Darinda getting himself sent off. Heading into this, Berlin have actually scored 2 goals in the last 3 away matches, at least 2 goals in the last 3 matches. Have conceded, though, at least 2 goals in the last 3 matches, period. So they're scoring the goals away from home, which is a good statistic to have. And they head into this just 1 defeat at the past 4. That was against Köln not too long ago. But it's back-to-back draws for Berlin heading into this. Meanwhile, Hoffenheim actually head into this 2 draws of the past 3 games. That defeat in the middle was a bit of a spanking at home to Bayern. Heading into this, the odds for Hoffenheim victory are 5-4 on. 11-4 is the draw. 16-5 is the away win for Hertha Berlin if they're to be victorious. Heading into this, Hoffenheim sit 9th for the table. A win away from going into the top 6 at the expense of Schalke if they're victorious, whereas Hertha Berlin are in 13th. Win away from going above Union Berlin into 11th. They're rivals. Tough old boots this one. Hoffenheim had a bit of a rough time, but I think they're going to get themselves back in winning ways with a 3-0 win over Berlin. Next up we have Köln. Obviously a midweek action for them, so busy all week. Potentially they could make up 6 points, and that could see them rise into Europa League spots. That's how big a week this could be for them. Taking on Mainz this what is it, Saturday. The last 6 encounters sees 2 wins for Köln, 2 wins for Mainz, and 2 draws along the way. They played in Mainz early in the season. It was a 3-1 win for Mainz. Boates on the score sheet, Quaison and Öztunali. whereas Simone Terode on the score sheet for Köln back in October. The last time they played in Köln, it was a 1-1 draw back in 2018 in the Bundesliga as well. Jonas Hector on the score sheet and Pablo de Blasis with a red card as well on that day. Köln actually won 8 of the last 10 matches in the Bundesliga. It could be 9. The last 11 before this game takes place. Bookmakers go 4-3 on in favour of Köln. 11-4 is the draw. 7-2 is the away win. Heading into this, the table situation, again, we could see them further up the table. Could be a big old week for them, but let's just say it goes with my prediction. They'll lose that game, but they could still get into the top 9 above Hoffenheim if they're victorious and Hoffenheim are not. Whereas Mainz come into this 15th of the table, just one defeat the past 5. They could see them rise a couple of spots as well, up to 12th above Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga if they're victorious. Form-wise for Köln again, before the game against Gladbach earlier in the week, they had 3 wins on the spin, 4 wins at the past 5. So they're looking good, and especially at home, they look pretty strong. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Köln on this one to get themselves back into the Europa League spots. That's what they're thinking about. Not the spots, Europa League contention. Next over Leipzig up against Freiburg. Obviously Leipzig falling down a little bit in the old table with the draw last time. Back-to-back draws for them. Only 2 wins at the past 6 for Leipzig heading into this. They take on Freiburg, obviously the dark horse, the surprise package early in the season, but of course they trailed off a little bit. The last 6 encounters between these two sides see 3 wins for Leipzig, 3 wins for Freiburg as well. They played in Freiburg early in the season. It was a 2-1 win for Freiburg. Nicholas Höfler and Niels Petersen on the score sheet for Freiburg. Lucas Klostermann on the score sheet for Leipzig into stoppage time last time played in Leipzig. It was a 2-1 win going the other way in favour of Leipzig. Timo Werner and Emil Forsberg on the score sheet for Leipzig back in the day. This was back around about April 2019. Freiburg's goals came from Vincenzo Grifo on the day. Leipzig actually undefeated the last 9 home matches, whereas Freiburg actually failed to win 9 of the last 10 matches away from home. The bookmakers on this bad boy, they'll go with Leipzig on this one as well. 5-1 on in favour of the hosts. 11-2 is the draw. 12-1 is the away win. Heading into this, Freiburg sit 8th for the table, a win away from going into 6th spot. That's a Europa League spot right there, whereas Leipzig come into 3rd in the table, a win away from going back into the top 2. I'm going to go with Leipzig on this one as well. 3-1 comfortable win at home. I don't see anything but that in the end. Next up, we have a bit of a tricky one. It is a bit of a local affair. Dortmund up against Schalke. Dortmund come into this 2nd in the table. Schalke come into this 6th. Schalke's form, though, 2 defeats at the past 6 games, actually without a win in 6. Whereas Dortmund come into this 4 wins on the spin. Looking to get maybe a late surge towards the top of the table. We'll have to wait and see, though. The last 6 encounters between the two sides, only 1 win for Dortmund, 2 wins for Schalke, and 3 draws along the way. They played in Schalke back in October. It was a 0-0 draw, and the last time they played in Dortmund went in favour of Schalke. 4-2 winners last season. Double red card as well for Dortmund. Royce and Wolf get themselves off. Gutzer and Witzel on score sheet for Dortmund. The goals for Schalke came from Cagliari from the spot. He also got one from open play and Zane, as well as Breland Bolo on the score sheet for Schalke. That was when they had an absolute horrific season. The last time they played, that was the last time they played in Dortmund. Goodness gracious me. If you want to go back a couple of seasons, there was an 8-goal barnstormer between these two sides, and they're all square 4-4 apiece. Dortmund actually won 7 of the last 8 matches in the Bundesliga, but Schalke have actually failed to score in the last 4 away matches as well. Dortmund have kept a clean sheet in the last 3 home matches as well, so it's not looking good for Schalke when you look at the form. Heading into this, the bookmakers odds 3-1 on in favour of Dortmund. 92 is the draw. 30-2 is the away win. Heading into this, Dortmund are in 2nd spot, potentially go up to 1 point adrift of Bayern, depending on what goes on with them, whereas Schalke are in 6th, the win away from closing the gap onto Mönchengladbach in 5th. Can't see anything but, I'm going with the Dortmund win. It might be a bit of a tight affair, and Schalke will get a couple goals in it, but 3-2 win for Dortmund. They should be the better side. Next up, we have Union Berlin, the dark horses, really, of this season, flying high at the moment into 11th spot in the table. Up against Bayern, though. This will be a tough old boots. They played each other just twice over the past recent seasons, and it's been 2 wins out of 2 for Bayern. 1 win in the league. That was back in October. The other one was probably a friendly. But the league encounter back in Bavaria took place in October. It was a 2-1 win. Pavard and Lewandowski on the score sheet. Sebastian Polter made a bit of a game of it in the last few minutes with a penalty. Heading into this, Bayern actually won 10 of the last 11 matches in the Bundesliga and have scored at least 3 goals in the last 5 away matches. This is going to be a tough one. Union Berlin have been stubborn boots, and they raise the game when the bigger boys are in town. So it's 12-1 in favour. 12-1 for a Union Berlin victory, 11-2 for a Bayern victory away from 6-1 is the draw. Obviously, Berlin head into this 11th in the table, a win away from from going into the top 10, whereas Bayern are currently 5, 4 points clear over Dortmund. A win away could extend that to 7, and maybe we could call the title race over that stand. I was on the fence on this one. I thought Union Berlin could give them a game out of it, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Bayern in the end. Next up, we have a bit of a tough encounter, despite the league's position. It's Frankfurt up against München Gladbach, and again, big week for them. Just like Köln, it could be a 6-point week, 3-point week, or a 0-point week, or a derivative of that. Mönchengladbach need to win both these games realistically if they're going to get Champions League football next season. Frankfurt's form, though, is 3 defeats on the spin. Mönchengladbach heading into this, just 1 defeat in the past 6 games. That was against Dortmund last time out. Heading into this, the last 6 encounters between two sides, 3 wins for Frankfurt, 2 wins for Gladbach, and 1 draw along the way. They played in Mönchengladbach earlier in the season. It was a 6-goal thriller, 4-2 win in favour of Gladbach. Thuram on the score sheet, Wendt, Elverdi, and Sakira for Mönchengladbach. Danny da Costa, Martin Hinteregger on the score sheet for Frankie. The last time they played in Frankfurt was a draw. That's probably a favourable result as well. Danny da Costa on the score sheet once again, and Dennis Sakira as well on the score sheet for Mönchengladbach. Heading into this, Frankfurt have actually lost their last 3 matches. We talked about that. And also, Frankfurt actually conceded at least 2 goals in the last 3 matches in the Bundesliga, both home and away. The bookmakers, tough one to call this one, 15-8 for Frankfurt, 13-5 as a draw, 30-10 for Mönchengladbach. They appear to be favourites according to the old bookies. Heading into this, Frankfurt at 12th spot, a win away from going into 11th, whereas Mönchengladbach could potentially be in 4th spot prior to kick-off. And if so, they could potentially even go to 3rd with victory this Sunday against Frankie. I'm going to side with a draw on this one. I'd like to see Mönchengladbach win, but obviously I'm going to go with my head. And I think they'll pick up a point, which will be a good point away from home. Next up, we have Augsburg up against Wolfsburg. These two sides, well, they're duking out. Well, Augsburg trying to compete and get themselves clear of the relegation zone. Not great form for them without a win in 5. 3 defeats on the spin for Augsburg. Whereas Wolfsburg are trying to push for Europa League and maybe even an outside shot at Champions League spots at the moment. Anyway, heading into this, the last 6 encounters sees 2 wins for Augsburg, 2 wins for Wolfsburg, 2 draws along the way. They drew 0-0 early in the season, back in October. This, around about May last year, there was a 9-goal barnstormer, 8-1 win for Wolfsburg against Augsburg with goals. However, last season there was an absolute belter between these two sides. 9-goal extravaganza, but it was an 8-1 win for Wolfsburg with goals from Weghorst. He got himself a brace. Knoche, in fact, Weghorst got himself a hat-trick. Knoche got himself a goal. Gizek got himself a goal as well. Dekejic got himself a goal. Justin Bracaldo and a big fat OG from Kevin Danzo. The one only goal for Augsburg was a Julian Schreiber goal on the 81st minute. At that point, they were already 7-0 down. 6-0 down at that time. Heading into this, Augsburg actually lost their last 3 matches in the Bundesliga, whereas Wolfsburg actually can see at least 2 goals in the last 5 matches as well, which is not great. Heading into this, though, the bookmakers odds 15-8 for Augsburg, 7-5 is the away win for Wolfsburg, 23-10 is the draw. Heading into this, the situation at the table, Augsburg sits 14th, a win away from going up to 11th in the table, whereas Wolfsburg are 7th, a win away from going into the Europa League spots above Schalke, who are 6th. I'm going to side with an away win on this one, 2-1 in the end for Wolfsburg. And then at the bottom, it's a big game at the top and the bottom of the table, but Leverkusen coming to this 4th in the table at the moment, but when the kickoff comes around, they could be down to 5th, depending on what goes on with Mönchengladbach. Whereas Werder Bremen are actually in free fall at the moment, 18 points on the board, and they could get relegated this season for the first time in 40 odd years. Longest standing team, I think, in the Premier League that has never got relegated. So that's the situation at the moment. A win, though, could see them rise to 1 point closer to Fortuna Düsseldorf in 16th spot. Anyway, the last 6 encounters between two sides sees 1 win for Werder Bremen, 3 wins for Leverkusen, and 2 draws along the way. They played in Leverkusen earlier in the season. It was a 2-2 draw with Toprak with a big fat OG, Lucas Aliero on the score sheet for Leverkusen as well, Miliet Rashinga and David Klaassen on the score sheet for Werder Bremen. The last time they played in Bremen was a 6-2 win for Leverkusen. That was October 2018. Kevin Volland with a goal, Kai Havertz with a brace, Julian Brandt as well, Karim Belarbi and Alexander Dragovic on the score sheet for Leverkusen, Claudio Pizarro and Yuga Ashako on the score sheet for Werder Bremen. Heading into this, Bremen have actually lost their last 6 home matches and have also failed to score in the last 5. Werder Bremen actually conceded at least 2 goals in the last 6 matches. in the Bundesliga, both home and away. The bookmakers will probably go with Leverkusen 14-5 for Werder Bremen, 3-1 is the draw, 5-4 is the away odds for Leverkusen victory. They come into this 4th in the table. They could be as low as 5th, but potentially if they are victorious, they could go as high as 3rd, depending on what goes on elsewhere. Werder Bremen, again, victorious if they are against Leverkusen. They could potentially go 1 point closer to that playoff spot, which would be massive in their grand scheme of things. But I'm going to give it to Leverkusen, but only just with a 2-1 win. But that only just is not going to do anything for Werder Bremen in the end. So the table will look like this at the end of it. Bayer Leverkusen will be, I don't care about Bayer Leverkusen. Bayern München will be top of the table. Borussia Dortmund will be 2nd, Leipzig 3rd. Leverkusen will be 4th, or potentially they'll be 5th, depending on what goes on with the Mönchengladbach game against Köln. Meanwhile, the bottom of the table will be Paderborn, Werder Bremen. They'll be going down. Fortuna Düsseldorf will still be in that playoff spot, and we'll have to wait and see what goes on there. Quick look at the odds for the title. Well, it still seems to be, it's obviously Bayern's to lose. They are 5-1 on to be victorious. 6-1 for Dortmund, 8-1 for Leipzig, 200-1 for Mönchengladbach, 250 for Leverkusen, and the chasing pack are like 1,000-1. So yes, be sure to get your predictions in nice and early for the old Bundesliga. It is a double match week. So not double match week, but a couple games extra. So you make sure you get those babbles in for an extra Brosi bonus. Also, make sure you check out the old description. Links to my other social media platforms are in there: Twitter, Facebook, and of course Patreon. If you want to become the Patreon, number 10, there is a link down there. It is patreon.com/Roverseas. You can join the likes of Russell Frost, No Code Drinker, Tom Brasher, Tom Clark, John Spur, and Axe Tech, Martin V. Mark, Cosmo 1976, Mitchell Schoen, and of course Cody Cahoe. You could become number 10 for the less than the price of coffee. You can join the VIP gang, boys and girls. That's right. Anyway, we do it all again. Of course, the season is getting to the nitty-gritty stage. International break is on the horizon, but I think we've got at least another match week before that. Anyway, until then, make sure you bang the thumbs up, bang the subscribe, and I'll see you all next time around. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date. All things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.